groups in that company. So trying to have like too many driving forces, all with completely different ideas, sort of creates like a friction.
Too many cooks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
and it's like we find it. It's not like we can't direct ourselves, but it's difficult because all of us want to do it. It's not necessarily like none of us wants to take that role. It's more like all of us want to take that role, if that makes sense. So if we did just have one kind of assigned person who is in charge, I think we would kind of not enjoy it, but I don't know.
I think we'd
Yeah.
work better because, like, the other day when we started with your physical section, because Levi had the most idea and picture of where he wanted to go with it rather than anybody else because it was more his idea. Levi took the lead in that, and we were all working together because Levi was like, oh, we'll do this, and we occasionally added in an idea to, like, so if something wasn't working, we tried to tweak it because we were working together. But because Levi had the initial idea and he was the leader, it just worked a lot better because we were trying to go with it and we worked more as a company that way. But when there's like loads of people who want to do their thing and want to try their idea, they all want to be the leader, so it's really hard for people to follow that. And if there is someone who follows that, it's only like 2 people, and then like the rest of the company, it's very mismatched.
And a lot of the time, I feel we all confuse each other. Like earlier when we was doing the step things, like you know what you walked in on with the art. Well, first before we started doing the art, we was doing what we were stepping on and what way we was turning back into it. I didn't like this. Is just a scenario. I didn't know whether people meant like what we did when we created it, or what we're going to do now for it to be. And then like nobody, so then everyone was just getting confused, and then I was confused, and then I just think that these kind of things happen a lot where it's just like, are we talking about the same thing or are we not? Like a lot of them things have been happening. So yeah.
How much talking do you do?
A lot.
A lot.
A lot. How much doing do you do? Not much. Not enough.
Talking.
Too much talking, not enough doing.
But then, like, when some people say, right, because I know personally, I've said, let's just try it, let's just do it, like, because people keep talking about it, I said, let's just do it, and then we'll have a discussion about doing it.
It's pretty much.
And it's like people, when we do it, they, like the person who wants to do it is like not leading it, but we're all doing it, but everyone else is doubting it. So like, it's hard.
It's pretty much what you said
or like not letting that person just be in charge at this moment in time. They're just saying, oh, but it isn't this enough. It isn't this enough, but it's not there. I can understand like you need the whole company to put in their input, but when it's just one idea, that person clearly has a vision for what they want. Do you know what I mean? I think it's more you should just kind of let them, and then after.
And then you can put you layer in it. Yeah.
But then I think it is easier to say, oh, well then just get up and do it. But the reason why I think sometimes most of the time we haven't. Sometimes it's just out of laziness that some of us like we haven't committed to what we're doing. But sometimes it's the case of, okay, so are we going to do what you're doing now or what you're doing now? Like Julia tried to set that up, like, okay, tomorrow we're going to do Levi's idea first then. And then we started doing that, and then I can't remember what day it was, we just started going into something else, then we actually didn't do what we set out to do.
But that's the thing, I think we're trying to plan too much, and I don't think you can plan, because one thing, like we started with Levi's idea and then we come up with this whole dog idea, and that was productive. I think if we're trying to allocate like right an hour on Levi's idea, it just doesn't work, because it leads on and things evolve and change. So
yeah, no, that's true, but I mean as in like we never decide properly.
I think the problem with that is questions though.
Yeah.
People always ask questions, and it's not like we're just going to go with it. It's not like you're saying yes. It's kind of like, so why are we doing this? So what are we doing now? So why? And constantly questioning it is getting us nowhere, because it's good to ask questions, but when there's unnecessary questions that are asked, I just think just go with it, or just follow, like if you don't know what foot it is, just follow that person that's next to you and hope that they're doing it right, and just improvise it so we get a little bit further, and then we can come back to the finer details later, because when we're always asking the questions, we keep going a step back instead of 2 steps forward.
I think when we come up with ideas, like we're talking about it, we're too busy trying to understand the whole thing and expecting to get it right once and then moving on to something else, rather than just like knowing what it is and then trying multiple times, and if we get it wrong, just keep going over it again, rather than expecting to just get it done once like that.
It sort of goes back to what you said before leaving us, like just if you've got an idea, then just go with it. Don't try and explain the whole idea, because then, for me personally, if you're talking to me, I'm just sort of like, I'm just seeing blackness because I don't understand what you're talking about. I just like to do something, get it, and then I understand it through actually physically doing it. So I think I prefer working like that instead of actually people just telling me.
Because I think when you actually explained, like what you're saying, like when you explained it earlier about showing us instead, because there's been a lot of trying to explain the idea, and then people getting confused, and then someone saying something else about an idea, but they've got the same idea, but because they're talking about it in such a different roundabout way, if you break all the stuff down, their initial point is both the same thing, but they're arguing about something because they're interpreting it as a different way. Yeah.
But you're talking about exactly the same.
Yeah.
I just think starting is the hardest thing. Once we start something and the ball's rolling, we start having fun and stuff like that.
And also, like, I don't know, like I can be a culprit of this, but like being quite pessimistic about an idea sometimes. Like I said, I don't think it's going to work in my head, so then I don't fully go out with it. But I think like we just got to be optimistic about every idea. Like if someone's trying to do something, just go fully with it and then see where it goes.
Okay.
Oh, and I know this is off topic, but me and Errol went into the auditorium today and went behind the screen. We literally have no space.
You got no space?
No. Because basically I think where I thought that the
Dock.
but what is that? The shutter
Yeah.
was a lot further back, because obviously the Pavlov house and that was in there. I thought it was much bigger than that, but it's actually not. They've got a floodlight there. I don't know if they've set that up for what we're doing, and it's on top of something. But yeah, there's literally not that much space.
It's not big in like depth, but it's
Yeah.
big in like height.
Yeah. I was just
It'll
saying.
be alright, because all the stuff we've been doing has been really close to the screen anyway.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
But when we
biggest
start
screen.
doing the stories and like adding like the car in,
I was
that's
just
where
saying it
might
to let
come
you
more
know. I didn't
complex.
say that is a problem right now, but just
is
to
it
let you know
the
that.
whole screen, is that the whole of the dock? So how are you going
A
to like...
bit bigger.
No,
than
it's
the
bigger
dock.
than the dock, because like so basically when you come out of the dock, obviously you've got the wall there.
Yeah.
That you've got about.
That's
So see that line on the floor
Yeah.
to the wall. You've got like that much, and then you've got inside the dock.
So I was just thinking,
Yeah.
like, if it's covering the whole thing, and like you're like for some sections you're on the side, you're going to be seeing as a shadow.
No, Dean said because of the dock, it won't light all of the screen, because the light's going to be at the back of the dock,
Yeah.
and obviously you've got the. I don't know what it's called. So it won't hit he said it won't probably hit everything. So I don't know if they're going to put different lights or whatever. I don't know.
So you all need to really get in there. Just
Yeah.
have a little look.
But they
ASAP.
but we've only heard, we can't get in there at the moment because there's something going on in there and stuff like that. And then I heard, are we taking on Thursday?
I don't know who's
Is that,
talking.
I've heard something like taking is Thursday or something like that.
We're starting late next week.
But then like I'm back
Is that late?
Next week.
Today I started my piece.
Oh.
Was that outside?
Oh no, they were just messing about with ideas. I actually started today, and we're not doing nights, so I have no idea what kind of madness is going to come out of this.
So you know our piece is 7 to 9 minutes. Is that 9 minutes maximum? So if we went like 10 minutes, is that a big?
No, I won't penalise you for that.
Right.
It should be at least between those points, but if it's 10 minutes, it's fine.
45 minutes later.
Quality though, not quantity, but no, I won't penalise you for your extra minute, or even if it was 10 minutes over, I wouldn't be too fast, but it should be at least between those points. Okay, so in general, are we feeling positive, or are we a bit deflated?
I feel positive after today.
Yeah, a little bit of
both.
both.
Like with ideas on how we can progress things.
Okay.
I think having a director look at it and like getting the inspiration from the notes that we were given today, I think we feel a bit more like, oh, now we've got ideas of what to do and how to take it and stuff like that. As before, like when you said, oh, just do whatever you want, and we were bringing like life into it, I realised that I'm not actually having fun.
Mm-hmm.
And because we've got like a time limit on us, I feel like we should just get the moves done, so we've actually got a piece and then start adding character and and then start playing around with it instead of playing around now, because I keep getting worried that we're not even going to get like 5 minutes.
Yeah, because then if you concentrate on the worry, you're not going to actually play with it.
And I think even like the simple stuff, I'm calling it simple, but we didn't know it, but it was just like the little movements that you showed us behind, like to make it more effective and stuff like that. It's like I didn't hear one person mention that, so I think it's good that you came in and then gave us that note.
Yeah.
So now we know what to look for.
Because before we was just saying, oh yeah, that don't really look like a car, or that don't really look like this. We weren't saying how people are getting into that position and stuff like that. So yeah.
But I think like
Go on, no, go on.
I think like with ideas we just need to like do them and then like put the one that we're doing on the back boiler and then try it to its full potential. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. And if it does, and then you go, oh, make that links with that, and then you sort of stitch it out of that.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's unwise if you decide to go into this with the concept of let's make everything really clean, crisp, clarified, concise. Let's make it perfect now. You can't add layers in the beginning stages. You do kind of need to just create the base material, and then go, okay, how can we really crisp this up? How can we really play with this concept? How can we mess with the system? If you try and make it too detailed too early, you do get bogged down in 4 days worth of a 30-second piece, rather than let's create something, let's create loads of ideas and cut those ideas into workable chunks. You're better off having more material that you can then condense than having 10 seconds worth of immaculate material, but it's so immaculate that it's dead because you worked it into the ground. Yeah? So don't get yourself caught up. You've got loads, you haven't got loads of time, but you've got enough time to add that detail, to add new ideas.
It's like when you like want to do something, I'm just going to compare it to something random. But like when you actually want to do something and you like the start of it, you want to just do it, but at the same time you just can't be bothered. Like not can't be bothered, but you're just like waiting to do it and you're thinking about it. But then when you get halfway through doing like a job or something and you're nearly at the end of it, then that's when you start working properly. I think it's just the starting and getting ready to fully get into like more material and find the different things we can use. That was just my comparison. That wasn't good.
From an outside point of view, my biggest, the thing that I think is your biggest hang-up that I want you to work on, at the moment, you're not quite working in unison. You're not quite working as a company. And that's not just from you telling me that. That is evident, and it hasn't gone unnoticed among all of the directors. And it is a bit of a concern, because at the moment you had a really good point actually, there are big personalities in a room and lots of big personalities in one tiny room. And what that means is it can really cripple the company. Yeah? It can really damage the work you produce, but it can cripple you as people. When you come in, when you start a workshop, when you start your day's rehearsal, remind yourself every single day, today I need to be the best that I can be. I need to be better than I was yesterday, and I need to be the best that I can be today, all day long. Sometimes it gets really easy that we get caught up in, I've done this for years, I know what I'm doing, I'm good at creating theatre, I'm good at this, I'm a good actor, I find devising really fun and really easy, and I've got good ideas, and that's great, yeah, you should have that confidence, but confidence can very easily be overshadowed by downright arrogance, and there is no place for arrogance, no place whatsoever. Arrogance will only ever kill this company. That's all it will do. Yeah? And it's about you being 100% on your game and taking responsibility for you. And if all 11 people in a room do that, you're all going to be on it. But you can't take for granted the fact that you are one of a company. You aren't the company by yourself. Yeah? Really important, because one, I don't want you guys to get a reputation, yeah, but there has been an air for some of you of just